Good evening, and thank you for watching ECSO News, where facts matter. I'm Deputy Melanie Peterson.
And I'm Amber Southard. Help us identify the suspect in this video. On March 19th, this suspect was caught on camera checking for unlocked vehicles in the Keelan Cove area off a 9-mile road. This truck owner's doors were locked, but other vehicles in that area were not, and items were taken. If you have any information about these vehicle burglaries or the suspects in the video, call Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP or the ECSO at 436-9620.
Too often, unused prescription drugs find their way into the wrong hands. That's dangerous and often tragic. That's why the ECSO participates with the DEA in a National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, which is a safe, convenient, responsible way to dispose of unused or expired prescription drugs. Clean out your medicine cabinets and turn in your prescription drugs safely and anonymously at the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. It's Saturday, April 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at one of the following 6 Walgreens drop-off locations.
Wanted for questioning only, Brian Anthony Stallworth. On March 11th, ECSO deputies responded to the 8000 block of Tower Terrace in reference to a gunshot victim. Once on scene, deputies found Brian Stallworth suffering from a gunshot wound to the hand. He reported 2 unknown suspects attempted to break into his home, then fired shots inside the home, striking Stallworth in the hand and almost striking a sleeping 2-year-old child. A search warrant on the home resulted in the seizure of a kilogram of cocaine, methamphetamine, promethazine, with codeine, marijuana, a gun, and $20,000 in cash. Stallworth was taken to a local hospital where he left on his own will. We are now looking for Stallworth for questioning only.
Sergeant Pat Roberts was honored last month by the Sons of the American Revolution Pensacola chapter with the Law Enforcement Achievement Award. During the First Responders Annual Dinner, they awarded medals to several of the county's first responders for their contributions to the safety and well-being of our citizens. The University of West Florida presented the Escambia County Sheriff's Office with Employer of the Month at UWF's Spring Engineering and Technology Career Fair earlier last month. The ECSO is currently hiring for law enforcement personnel. We also offer careers in civilian positions like accounting, IT, dispatchers, and human resources. For more information, go online to escambiaso.com. Select Careers tab to see what opportunities are available at the ECSO. Sheriff David Morgan swore in 2 deputy sheriff trainees. Jennifer Waters and Daniel Davis both took the oath before family and friends.
Here's this week's episode of Crime Tip Tuesday.
I'm Chief Deputy Chip Simmons, and welcome to Crime Tip Tuesday. When you're at home, do not give your name, phone number, address, or any other personal information to a telephone solicitor. Ask for identification from any service technician. If you're not expecting anyone or you're suspicious for any reason, call the business to verify before letting them inside. If asked whether your spouse or parent are home, reply yes, but they're asleep or busy. This has been a tip from your Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
It's finally warming up here. Come and join us for fun at our Cops and Kids Spring Festival. Parents, guardians, and kids are invited for a free picnic at Ashton Brosnanham Park on Saturday, April 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, and drinks are provided. There will be games for all ages, including our suspect pursuit maze. We will have demonstrations from our SWAT team, K-9, and Escambia County Mounted Posse. Our ECSO Explorers will be on hand to fingerprint children if the parent or guardian wants them done. See you at Ashton Brosnanham Park on April 14th. And this is a new social media segment, Meet the Dirty Dozen. This is our Warrants Division's top 12 most wanted fugitives. The ECSO Warrants Unit created the Dirty Dozen list to increase the exposure and ability to capture Escambia County's most wanted fugitives. If you have information on the whereabouts of any of the Dirty Dozen, contact the ECSO at 436-9620 or the Gulf Coast Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP. If your tip leads to an arrest, you may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $3,000.
ECSO deputies put their running shoes on for charity. Last week, local law enforcement officers and employees participated in the 2018 Law Enforcement Torch Run to raise awareness for the Special Olympics, Florida. The Escambia County Sheriff's Office, along with the Pensacola Police Department and other law enforcement agencies, carried the torch from the ECSO Administration Building to Bartram Park in downtown Pensacola. More than 300 Florida agencies participated in the statewide torch run each year?
Our fundraising efforts make sure that our athletes have the opportunity to participate year-round in athletic sports. This is statewide. We will start our torch run up here for the last week of March. Our 4 counties are the only ones that are running, and then starting in April we'll have counties that start running towards Wide World of Sports, and we will have counties from South Florida that are running up, and it'll culminate in a final leg run that will happen on May the 18th.
Congratulations to our K-9 unit. They fiercely competed in the 2018 U.S. CPA Region 1 Patrol and Detector Trials. Our 4-man team consisting of Deputy Rogers with K-9 Axel, Deputy Brown with K-9 Django, Deputy Reeves with K-9 Alec, and Master Deputy Goldsby with K-9 Enzo. They won first place in the 4-man team competition. Deputy Watkins and K-9 Beatty won second place in the outdoor narcotics competition and fourth place in the overall narcotics competition. ECSO Deputy Watkins and K-9 Beatty, along with Lake Wells Officer Hampton and K-9 Badge, won first place in the 2-man interdepartmental team competition. Deputy Rogers and K-9 Axel won second place in the overall competition, second place in the overall search event, and fifth place in the agility competition. Master Deputy Goldsby and K-9 Enzo won first place in the indoor explosives competition, first place in the outdoor explosives competition, first place in the overall explosives competition, third place in the agility competition, and 13th place in the overall competition. Deputy Brown and K-9 Django won fourth in the agility competition and seventh place in the overall competition. Deputy Reeves and K-9 Alec placed 20th in the overall competition. A big thank you to the sponsors of the 2018 U.S. CPA Region 1 Patrol and Detector Trials.
Congratulations, graduates. Our Citizens Law Enforcement Academy graduated on our 8-week course on Thursday. Are you ready to go behind the scenes of the ECSO? Our next 4-week CLIA class begins May 10th, or our next 8-week class course begins on July 26th. Sign up online at escambiaso.com.
Next week is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, and we are honored to highlight the demanding and generally unseen role of public safety telecommunicators. Every year during the second week of April, telecommunications personnel in the public safety community are honored. This week-long event is a time to celebrate and thank those who dedicate their lives to serving the public. It is a week set aside so everyone can be made aware of their hard work and dedication. Thank you again to our dispatchers.
We need your help locating the people in this week's Crime Stopper segment. Our first featured fugitive is Jonathan Duncan McLean, Jr. He's 26 years of age and he's wanted for a violation of community control and 2 counts of fraud. McLean has no bond. Do you recognize his picture?
Has he been on the wheel?
He has, and he just, well, I would say about a year ago, he had quite a list of charges that had, he had warrants out for. He got picked up, and I guess, obviously, he's violated on some of those.
Well, we would love to see him down here at 1700 West Littern Street. So
Absolutely.
I'd love if somebody would pass along that information because the people at home are now looking for him.
That's right. Our next one, a fugitive, is Amber Walling. She's 30 years of age, and she's wanted for a violation of probation for driving while under the influence and driving while license suspended, and Walling also has no bond. I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
About driving while license suspended, driving under the influence.
There is just so many ways to beat that. There's Uber, there's taxi cabs, there's ECAT. I'm sure you've got friends. You got a great name. I do like her name.
Yes, she's got a beautiful name.
But, do the right thing. Go ahead, turn yourself in, get this taken care of. And simple things to avoid. Just download an app, call an Uber, call a Lyft, call a cab. There's just so many other ways to prevent this from happening.
Prevent yourself some more trouble, Amber. I mean, come on.
That's expensive. You don't want to be dealing with that forever.
No. And finally, our last wanted fugitive is Quentin Golston. He's 32 years of age and he's wanted for battery. Golston has a no bond also.
Wanted for battery. He's on the wheel and I think on our Crime Stopper show.
He is. And what a combination this week. We've got fraud, we've got driving while license suspended under the influence, and then we got one that has anger issues.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
A little column A, a little column B, a little column C.
There you go. If you know the whereabouts of any of our featured fugitives, contact Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP or go online to p3tips.com. All tips are 100% anonymous, and if your tip leads to a fugitive's arrest, you could be eligible for a cash reward of up to $3,000. Remember, everybody, crime doesn't pay, but we do. Hey everybody, it's Warrant Wednesday here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, and it's time for
All right, we have a celebrity guest spinner with us.
I don't know about that, but I'm a spinner.
Let's see.
All right, let's see what
Put
we
it to
got.
work.
Looks like we've got Jonathan Edward Moore. Jonathan is 38 years old. He is wanted for robbery, and he has a $10,000 bond.
Come on, Jonathan, robbery?
Dude.
If you see him out there, you know he's probably going to rob from somebody else if he's already done it before. We don't want him out there on the streets, and neither do you. So let's do the right thing. Get Jonathan to either turn himself in, or you can do it for him and win a reward, right?
That's right. Call Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP. If you know where Jonathan can be located, call that number. Once he's arrested, based off your information, you could earn a reward of up to $3,000. It's like we always say, crime doesn't pay, but we do.
We need your help locating the people in this week's Missing Persons segment. We continue to look for 16-year-old DeAndre Jenkins Ross. Ross was reported missing on January 31st and is a habitual runaway. Our next missing juvenile is 15-year-old Frederick Jerwayne Walker Jr. If you see Walker, do not approach him. He was last seen on February 28th at approximately 8:30 p.m. He is also an habitual runaway. Our last missing juvenile is 17-year-old Datisha Charday Lewis. She was last seen on March 12th. Lewis was reported missing on March 14th. If you have any information on any of these missing people, contact the ECSO at 436-9620. Well, it's that time in the show where I get to tell you about a great event that we have coming up. It's Cops and Kids.
Cops and Kids, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Lieutenant, for joining us. So can you explain to me what Cops and Kids is?
Sure. I'm glad to be here again.
Yeah.
Every now and then we throw these little picnics out there, and this is our third one, I think, in a series that Community Services puts on. It's Cops and Kids. So if you remember last August, we had one. It was at Helen Caro Elementary. This year, it's going to be at Ashton Brosenham Park off 10 Mile Road, right there by Lipscomb, MacArthur, and the Westgate Center. So we're at the very far north end. So come on out. It is a picnic, like we say. It's a good springtime picnic. We're praying for good weather. We'll have the people out there that we normally have out there. Our explorers will be doing fingerprinting and photographing.
Yeah.
We'll have the canine unit demonstration. We'll have the mounted unit demonstration. We're throwing a few new things in there. We have FWC coming out. Freshwater Commission will be out there with
Nice.
us.
Good.
We're going to have the command bus, of course, and we'll have the SWAT guys, which is always a big draw. Kids love that kind of stuff. We have the big armored vehicle. Hopefully we'll be out there again.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to have the bad guy pursuit, which I'll
Yeah,
get
what
into
is
that in a
that
little
about?
bit. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Wanna go ahead and talk about it? Let's go ahead and
Absolutely,
talk about it,
yeah. I was able to get the hay ordered again.
Yeah.
What it is, it's an obstacle course that we set up, and we have the children that come out that want to participate. They run after a bad guy, but the problem is they got to negotiate a field or a maze of hay.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the bad guy's running from them, and the kids got to go capture the bad guy. But to do this, they got to negotiate a whole bunch of different obstacles and hurdles
Wow.
and things. And we were able to get. We had some hay last picnic. I think we had 60 bales. This time I'm going to get 100. So it's going to be
That sounds like a
longer.
blast.
It's going to be higher. It's going to be more challenging for the kids.
Yeah.
Now we're not there to wear them out or anything, but it's just to have a good time.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we're going to have Sheriff Morgan's fast baseball throw. We'll have the radar guns out there, normally for speeding cars. This time it's going to be for kids throwing baseballs. So so we'll give the kids a certificate that says on this date and time you threw the baseball at whatever mile per hour the kids would throw.
Awesome.
But we're inviting the kids to come out. Adults are admitted if the kids are with you, and then we're going to feed you. We're going to give you hamburgers and hot dogs and maybe a soft drink or some water. Again, it's the 14th of April, which is the Saturday after Easter.
Okay.
Okay, so I understand families will go out of town for spring break and
Yeah.
Easter, so this is just give some kids some a little bit of a springtime picnic fun before
Yeah.
they have to go back to school.
So April 14th, you can come out and join us at Cops and Kids. And what is the benefit of this? Why is this something that you guys wanted to start doing?
Well, the original thought was just to have on a very friendly atmosphere that the law enforcement officers can interact with kids. And what better way to do that at a picnic, and what better thing to have at a picnic than games and fun and food.
Right.
So the SROs, the school resource officers, will be out there and come on out and meet the law enforcement officers, the SROs, the deputies with the mounted unit, the canine handlers, the SWAT guys, the explorers, again, yes, they will certainly be out there. And we want mom and dads to come out there, bring your lawn chairs. There's a nice covered area out there.
Great.
Just hoping for beautiful weather like today, just really, really nice and not too hot.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
We're getting to that time of year.
Exactly. But we'll have water out there. We'll have
Good.
food and drinks. So we're inviting anybody and everybody who wants to come out. It'll be a good time.
So it's a good opportunity for kids and the people in the neighborhood or just around Escambia County to get to know their local law enforcement, to get to see another side. Because most of the time when people are having to deal with law enforcement, it's not always on the best end. It's because something tragic has happened or somebody's in trouble. Or,
Absolutely.
you know, the kids, if they do have interaction with law enforcement, it's not always on a positive note. So this gives them a positive interaction.
Absolutely. It seems like every picnic we have, there's something that has happened in the national psyche that brings attention to law enforcement. We've had several law enforcement officers killed or injured here in the past couple months, and of course we had the Parkland shooting. So again, the SROs are in the schools, and they're there for the protection of the kids. They're there as a resource for the kids and the staff.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do with these picnics that we're putting on, and Sheriff wants to have them quite frequently, and it's for the community. It's for the kids to come. I don't care what school you go to. I don't care if you live in the city or the county.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're just visiting here on a holiday. Spring breakers. If you're listening to me and you guys want to come out and bring your kids up there, see some local law enforcement, bring them out.
Yeah.
It's just an interaction with the kids. That's where we're trying to focus this, is on the kids. But you'll see the officers out there. We're going to be playing games with them. We're going to be running from them. We're going to be with them throwing the baseballs and stuff.
Yeah.
So we want the kids to see us on a different way that they normally hear or see about law enforcement, which is negative, bad things. Mom and dad got pulled over for speeding, or God forbid we got called to their house for whatever bad thing had happened. So this needs to be fun. It needs to be an environment. And again, what better way to do that than a spring picnic?
And if we miss this one, like you said, Sheriff Morgan wants to do a whole bunch of these
He does.
throughout the year.
He does.
So there'll be other opportunities.
Yes, ma'am. Our first one was last year. I believe it was in April. We did that one in Avondale Park. Then the next one after that was at Helen Caro. So we went from kind of mid-county to southeast. Now we're going up to the north section, not up to Century Molina. We'll get to that eventually.
Right.
But we're trying to hit the areas that we know we can get a lot of kids to come to. And it's walking distance. And my understanding is that there's going to be a lot of soccer kids already out there playing at the soccer fields at Ashton Brosnan Park.
Yeah.
So we get more bang for a buck. We had, I think, just about 600 kids show up to our last one. That's up from maybe 4, I think, from the one before. So we're hoping to grow these more and more. And again, it's a community outreach thing. It's something that we want kids and law enforcement to interact together in a very low-key, fun atmosphere.
So if you're looking for a fun family day, our Cops and Kids event is just it for you. It's probably right up your alley. Again, tell the people the time, the place, location.
April 14th. It's a Saturday. You don't have anything you have to do on that Saturday. Come on out. And it's from 10 to 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Okay.
We're going to be out there, but of course we got to get there early. We got to get everything set up,
Yeah.
and we'll be out there a little bit later to clean up, make sure everything is back the way it was. I want to thank the county. Escambia County, the guys are really helping us out with Parks and Recreations. Thank FWC for giving us a hand. I forgot we're going to have face painting.
Awesome. Who
yeah.
doesn't like face painting?
Exactly. I might have a star, whatever.
I'll be there for that.
There you go. But I appreciate the time that you can put this out there and let the people know.
Yeah. And where is it again?
Ashton Brosnan Park. If you get to 10 Mile Road in Palafox, go back to the east and you'll follow the signs from there. We're at the far north end. So if you run out of road at Brosnan Park, that's where we will be.
Thank you so much for joining
you
us
so much.
and letting us know about this program. We hope to see you all there.
I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and thank you for watching Ask the Sheriff. This is your chance to ask me any questions you want answered about the ECSO. Our team hits the streets again, and here are some of the questions you asked. Some citizens wrote in and kind of asked a general question as to what do we think are the most important traits or attributes that we look for in young men and women that want to come into law enforcement. And again, the first things that come to mind is, tolerance, having a sense of humor, being compassionate, that sort of thing. But probably the answer, I think, that probably most accurately describes what we're looking for as agency heads, and I'm speaking of myself and other Florida sheriffs and other chiefs of police throughout the nation, was back my first year in office. We had a block of instruction at the Florida Sheriff's Academy, and the subject was character versus competence. And it was, again, the subject basically was, what are we looking for in young men and women that decide that they want a career in law enforcement? And so they kind of synthesized this thing down to answer your question, and it was about character. Because competence can be taught to anyone of reasonable intelligence. We can, teach you, basic ticket writing 101 or traffic stops, or, how to handle a domestic violence situation. All of those things can be very mechanical, meaning that we're going to teach you the elements of the law, officer safety, citizen contact, etc. But what we cannot teach to someone who is devoid of it or who hasn't been taught that from their very early learning experiences is that thing called character. Do you know the difference between right and wrong? Or is it something that we have to prod you or remind you of? And as silly as it may sound in today's society, and it started way back in the 60s with something that became in vogue, which was called situational ethics. And it revolved around the basic question of, when is it okay to lie? And so situational ethics, this whole field in the area of psychology, was brought up about, to save my life or to save someone else's life, I think I could probably lie to get out of that. And while those are instances in the extreme under great moral duress, it's kind of been extrapolated out now to, maybe to get my way would be okay. Or if I'm going to hurt or harm someone's feelings, it would be okay to lie in this circumstance. And so quite obviously, we lose our morality and our character and our integrity by degrading it. It's a series of degradations that go down, and we kind of mainstream it's okay to lie. An example is today in the area of employment, most employers will tell you that they throw out about 65 to 70% of what's in your resume because it's creative writing. A whole industry sprung up several years ago of resume writing, to where I take the most mundane or simplest of things and I kind of expand on that to where, I've got you walking on water and, feeding the multitudes with a few pieces of bread and some fish, and, raising the sick and, healing, or raising the dead and healing the sick. And so we all kind of read those and kind of give it a big ho-hum. But it is difficult for some people to basically say yes or no, or what to see and define what is right and what is wrong. And that's that thing we call character. And so we look for that in young men and women today through our testing process and through the background investigation, through the polygraph exam. Do you know the difference between right and wrong? And so character is probably the thing that we look the most for those who want to come into the area of law enforcement. Why? Because your safety and the security of our community and our nation depends upon men and women who know the difference between the two. Stephen asked if the Sheriff's Office here has ever considered lateral transfers from other law enforcement agencies, either within the state of Florida, or I will assume, Stephen, from anywhere in the United States. Stephen, we do that with regularity. We have officers that work in the other parts of Florida. Those are the easiest ones because they've already met Florida, criminal justice training standard requirements. So their transfer to our agency is relatively simple. The issue that we run into is how many years of service can be credited when the officer comes over as they apply to promotions. Now for retirement, it remains the same. If they're a participant in the Florida retirement system, you can work in Pinellas County and come to Escambia County and continue with your service and pay into your Florida retirement system account. Now, we have a union here. It's called a collective bargaining unit. It's the PBA, the Police Benevolent Association. And they've determined that when an officer comes to work for us from another agency, number one, the agency has to be of a certain size in order for it to be creditable, if you will, and also they'll only credit so many years. Why? It's an issue of what's fair. Let's say you worked in Pinellas County for a couple of years and now you transfer to Escambia County, and you're only here a couple of years, and now you can sit for the sergeant's exam. And so you're competing with officers that have been here 5 years or more, and yet you're competing on the same playing field with them. Or let's say you were at an agency that had 10 people, and it was basically a Mayberry RFD, and there was little or no on the street experience, if you will. So the PBA in the negotiations and the setting of the collective bargaining unit contract that we have, kind of call the shots on those things and trying to be fair to the officers that have started their careers here and stayed, as opposed to officers coming from the outside. But yes, you are credited with service. We do accept those training standards from other states. If you come in and you're not certified in the state of Florida, there's several avenues that you can take, even if you're prior military who served a career in, say, the military police or did military police time. They're referred to as short courses. You can get your training standards out of the way pretty quickly by some 90-hour courses. I think is probably the one that's recommended the most. And it's taught in various venues around the state of Florida, and then you can get your criminal justice training standards set for the test, and then of course you're ready to go working for the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. But we do that, Stephen, with regularity. Remember, you can also email your questions and ask the sheriff at escambiaso.com. We'll be back next week right here on Blab TV Tuesday night at 8 p.m.